Hello there, my name is Eshuchi Lumumba and this is the Opinion Canvas. Welcome to episode number 5. Thank you very much for the shares, the subscriptions, the streaming, and of course the insight that come through every other episode. I have a quick memory into my high school where I had a math teacher who told me that I would amount to nothing because I was not good in math. He could have been right, he could have been wrong, but well, I was eager to prove that I could amount to something with or without math. Well, I wasn't a very good mathematician, but I was very good with particular topics in math. And one of those topics was geometry. I loved drawing, I loved angles, I loved just playing around with lines and curves. And the other topic that I loved probably the most actually in math was statistics. I have learned over the years that I'm a very visual person. I interpret life through things I can see. And the thing I loved about statistics, I think, is because a lot of the presentation or representation rather of data would be done through, these fancy things like pie charts. You could see the percentages, the proportions, like a quick view of it would show you what this means, Why am I talking about this? The question is simple. Do we live beyond our means? Do we live unsustainable lives? Or are we just paid less? Or do we just make less as a people? Think of our parents out there. I know of stories of people who are basic, maybe high school and primary teachers, and who are able to take them through the entire education without having to fail a single time. And then here we are probably making twice or thrice what our parents would make, not being able to do anything to show for it. I have a theory. I learned that in 2024, a finding that was done in Kenya established that 400,000 people or thereabouts, out of a population of 50 million plus, earn a salary of 100,000. And this was actually a gross salary. When you want to think about this in the grand scheme of things, you realize 400,000 is probably slightly, just under 1% of the 100% population of the country. And this gets you to thinking that if you earn 100,000 plus, or if you're able to make that much, then you're almost just part of the 1%. That means 99% of Kenyans make way less, or less than that. Now let's work with 100,000. So we see where the rain started beating us from. Whenever a Kenyan, and I want to filter it and skew it a little bit more towards men because I will only speak for men. Out of us, what happens is whenever we see a slight rise in income, a slight advancement in income, the first thing we do is we also alter our lives upwards. So then we end up in a limbo where we're wondering, we've been grading high, scaling high in our pay grades, but you're not being able to save more perhaps, we're not able to make more investment, but it's because we keep a status quo by adjusting our lives in such a way that we spend all that we make, or just a significant portion of it, that then deters us from making progress. I used to make 4,500 at the very beginning of life, for lack of a better word. And I used to live in a place in Kayole called Soweto. I would pay rent of about 1,200, spend the rest here and there, and life was just fine. Then when I upgraded my salary to maybe about 10,000, I moved to a place called B Center, just some no man's land. You never know if it's in Donholm, Comarox, Umoja, or Kayole, the Eastlands people know B Center. Then when I scaled up a bit again, I moved to Umoja, uko ile place hakunanga maji. Stayed there for a month. I realized this is not my place. I mean, I can't be making this much and living like a beggar. So I moved to Umoja 1, and there's always been that. That is no issue. What I'm trying to say is, over the years, I realized, and I have seen it with a lot of my male counterparts, that every time there's an adjustment with life in terms of a salary or an income, then we adjust our lives. Then it becomes very difficult. Someone wants now to move from this place, and usually like the middle level section for middle income earners. Actually, 100K is pretty much a low middle income earner. Most of them would flood places like maybe, Thika Road, Lenya Inanga, Msiajuangi hata Thika Road ni wapi, all the way from Kasarani, Roysambu, all those areas. Long story short, a Kenyan man, an average Kenyan man earning that much, 100,000, most of them would live in a decent house, maybe a 1-bedroom or very high-end bedsitter, or even a 2-bedroom for the ambitious ones. So a decent house, let's take 20 G's of that. 20 G's will end up a rent. And then now we have you left with 80,000 shillings. These 80,000 shillings, we have utilities. Right now, every household runs on the internet and all that. So you have maybe Wi-Fi to pay for, you have electricity, you have water. Give or take, let's give that 5,000. Phone bills here and there, depending on what you're subscribed to. Let's just give another 2 G's. And then maybe we're Africans, so there's always a niece somewhere who needs help. There's always a brother, a younger brother who needs pocket money. There's a mother in the village who needs something. So let's give or take 5 G's on the black tax, yeah? On top of that 5, 10 is gone. 70 G's left. This 70,000, depending on how you make it to work. And again, there's another tendency. The moment salary might hit 100,000, first thing people go for is maybe a car loan. So you have people servicing loans, car loans that go to crazy periods of even 5+ years. So if you're not using the card, the better. So we're talking transport. Transport in Nairobi will take away about 15 G's of your money, whether you like it or not. So let's give or take 15. And we're being very generous in terms of someone who's driving. So let's assume you even use that 15,000 for fuel. 15,000 off of 70 G's, we have about 55K left. So then we have this 55K, you need some shopping in the house, you need to get things going around, you need to add a cloth here and there. Let's assume you're very economical. From the 55, you spend about 10 for house shopping and then maybe 5 for apparel. That's 15 G's gone. 55 minus 15, you have about 30,000 left. So this 30,000, kuna kuanga sasa na those things that you have to do. Maybe you have to upgrade, you have to do a course here and there. If you're serious about saving, let's say you even save 10 G's or 15 G's or 20, depending on how serious you are. But basically what you're saying, 30,000 is the amount that is left that you can say belongs to nobody. So it's yours for the taking. Now, the reason I'm making this episode is because I want to try and see the benefits, the return on investment on what we call the Nairobi lifestyle, and to be very specific, clubbing life. Because I feel that is the life that has deterred so much the Kenyan man in terms of sustainability. And nobody is coming here to say stop clubbing. Najua we're in the era of seeing advice, maisha ni yangu, well and good. But let's look at what it means to live a club life in Kenya. So one weekend you've been paid and you feel like going out with friends. Let's break down and see what this entails. Going out would mean you're out of work on a Friday evening, or let's say it's a Saturday evening. The things in business studies we used to call them complementary goods. For example, the demand of sugar or tea will definitely affect upwardly as well the demand of something like bread. Because when you buy sugar, that means you have tea. When you have tea, you need a complementary for tea, which would be bread. So there are things that go in hand. Clubbing is not just you walking into a club, having a time of your life and getting out. There's only the clubbing and the post, if you ask me. And this I want to break it down. So you want to go and have a time of your life. Most people love clubbing with company because it makes more sense. Una club aje peke yako, kwani wewe? So half the times you will have to get maybe 1 or 2 people. We're going to club. If you're driving, well and good, mmejipanga ni nini, then to even catalyze the fun more, clubbing works better. Kama tuko na madem, we need to have chiles around. 8 out of 10 times, I'm not saying accurately 100%, but 8 out of 10 times, it's really a liability on you. But then again, I want to count it as an investment. So maybe we're gonna end game unaona venye au mademu wakiwa kwa equation, at the end of this night mta benefit in this and this way. So girls come into this equation, kuna mademu juu wanatoka huko sio Kimau, wanakam ama at the river. They're usually coming from crazy places. Ama sijui ni Rongai. So you have a girl coming from Rongai, and usually whenever a girl is joining you for a good time or a good night, suddenly there's a change in lifestyle of this girl that happens instantly. Anaweza kuwa ni dem anatumianga matatu every other day, but on this particular day bro, utalipia Uber. But kutoka Rongai kwangi pesa mbili, so you have like 1,000 shillings you have to spend on that Uber. This chick will pull this usual line of, oh, you know, we're just meeting, so I have to bring my friends to be sure we are safe, blah blah blah. Can I tag along a friend? I might have a friend who really wanted. And then usually there's just that crowd euphoria of, yeah, come with your friends. You know, you want to feel like you're a man. And it's the problem I have with men. You don't always have to feel like, you know what, I'm in charge, I got you. No. Si lazima, you know, you have to ask yourself, what is the end? And even if there's an end, does it justify all this hassle, all these expenditures I'm going to incur? Long story short, amekuja, there's a cab there, 1,000 shillings, amekuja na mabeshte zake. Once they come to the club, you know, wanasemanga, you don't just start drinking, you lay the foundation. So food kwa club inakwanga crazy. I've never understood. Someone will sell you a chicken for 2,500. Unajua nani ametoa parts cards zote. Mimi kama kwanza kama mluya unapatanga chicken imekuja, you're wondering mbuzi iko wapi? Chicken haina mguu. So anyway, all these things are gone, and then the chicken is here. Now you need maybe potatoes, mini saute, maugali. Then there'll be a platter of managu costing about 500 shillings or 250, whatever it is. Give or take, you spent on food about 5,000, just food. You, the girls and the boys. Let's even assume you're pulling these expenses together. It is still a significant amount. Then mademo mekuja. And then if you haven't gotten to the drink section, then you go to the drinks. Girls on another top shelf. Kwanza the moment wameinvitiwa. And then of course you're there as a man, you want to show that you, hey, huku Nairobi sikukuja kucheza. I came here to make money. I have some coins in my pocket. So you want to give them the time they want. So whatever drinks they want, people drink to their fill. You've spent about maybe 10 G's on drinks, 5 G's on food. That's one kake. Remember tulikuwa tunabakisha 30k. Tunaongelea msesa ametoka bank to end month. Hujatumia do yako, umelipa tu bills zako, you're a responsible man. So umebaki na 30k. Already this is one date, maybe 15 G's is gone down. After that, sometimes if you're lucky, tend on a day home. If you're not lucky, and you are trying to be a gentleman, bado utalipa Uber ya kurudi huko Rongai. Then you'll come back to your house. House amachali most of the time is, my problem with men is we want to be heroes out there at the expense of the basics that we need to be taking care of over here or at home for that matter. So you find men who will buy a pair of shoes after even a year or two. To be very honest, we have men who will not remember the last time they bought a cloth for themselves, but they'll spend very generously out there. As long as akona gari yake na ikona fuel, everything else doesn't matter. Unaingia kwa fridge yake, hakunanga kitu. The fridge just runs. Ni ice cubes na soda, chupa ya soda ya Coca-Cola iliisha, iko ndani na maji. You know, it's just water in that. And that's the life. It becomes so depressing to interact with it and to watch it. And this is 15 G's down, so you have 15,000 left, and then you're back home, and then Monday comes, and then you have your daily expenses to meet here and there. And this is why on the 5th of every month, most of the time, a lot of us are broke. Chali ameanza kuomba ndo manze rent sikuwa nilipa, sijui mimi na nini, manze my fare is out, I need a replacement. But yet again, after this, you want to club every other weekend. My question is, no problem with clubbing, no problem with having fun, no problem with going out there, no problem with laying down, unwinding, and rewarding yourself for a beautiful work well done or hard work out there. But is it sustainable to do this every other weekend? Because it has become a very, if you ask me, wanting Kenyan culture. Why do you have to drink heavily every other weekend? Why do you have to go out there every other day and spend this money? Is it sustainable? Then you come and say, oh manze, our jobs are not paying us well. The economy is very bad. Maybe we're struggling. Oh manze, sometimes that wazazi hawaonangi anything. And I repeat this every other time I will say it. There's a very big difference between black tax and you taking care of your people back at home. Now, usidanganywe na wase wako walk up around town at you and say, your parents should not depend on you. Skiza, I'm not talking of the extreme cases where parents are coming for your neck. But if you have parents, if you have people back at home who've actually had your back, who've taken care of you, who've gotten you somewhere, mzae, when you make something, take something back at home. Wachana na hiyo wokeness ya ufala eti manze, I have to build myself. Yes, you have to get the balance right, be responsible, and our mothers in the village and our fathers in the village ask for very little. Unless you're just dealing with extremely interesting parents. Parents will be impressed by very little. Tumia mzae taumbili, mwambie mzae tafuta kanyama choma ukule. Tumia mada yako taumbili yake pia, mwambie mam fanya ka shopping kidogo, nunua sukari. Hamtasumbuana na mom for, and she'll be praying for you, and these are the prayers that keep you going. But sasa wewe, you want to spend everything you make over here, and then our work becomes a rabbit hole because it is always working Monday to Monday, giving your best here. The motivation even goes away because what you're making out of this does not help you. Men, a lot of the women that we spend on, a lot of the money that we spend on, are spent on women who are in the same pay grade as us. I'm also not going to say that atakuwa gentleman, nini eti kuwa mstingy, hapana. What I'm saying is, ask yourself every time, do I have to spend this? Does it have to be this much? Can this be done a different way that is still economical with the same rewards? I mean, we want to bond, we want to have time, fun, we want to hang out. Does it have to be this costly? If it is that costly, if it has to be that costly, then maybe you don't have to do it. It's just as simple as that. So sometimes I listen to us whining so much about how we don't make enough, but we hardly talk about how we spend the little that we make. How do we spend it? Do we spend it in a manner that's consistent with what we make or how we make it? You cannot sweat and toil all man making this much and then go dump it all at once just for a moment or Machari out there, we will only progress the day we realize that we have to guard what we make. If you've worked for it, guard it. If someone wants what you've worked for, demand accountability. What makes you think I'm just going to hand you half my salary because I'm supposed to be the man who has it? Like, when nilikuwa naenda job ni kama sijui kitu ninafanya. Someone gave me a perspective that if you make 300,000 a month, for instance, and someone asks you for 10,000 shillings, you might think it's not a lot of money, but let me give you again that statistic I was telling you about. Let me give you the picture. It means that for one day in that month, you woke up, you made breakfast, you probably did everything you're supposed to do, preparation for work, you got ready for work, you dressed up, you washed a cloth, ironed it and put it on, you planned your work, got on a matatu, paid fare, or filled your car, went to work, got to work, worked all day, took all the shit from your employer, took all the good things from your employer, whatever it is you're taking, did your best, sweated yourself up, and came back home to work for them. Because 10,000 shillings or 300,000 shillings is the work of one day a month. You worked for them. So ask yourself, is this money that you're just going to spend because someone asked for it? If you've worked for it, if you've earned it, got it. Actually, that is the only way we're getting out of this. We all want to be ambitious, we all want to get out there, we all want to live a good life. This is Eshuchi Lumumba and this is the Opinion Canvas. See you next time. Peace.